Land plant evolution begins with seedless plants. Even though they make up less than 15% of plants today, they were the dominant plant for over 300 million years ago. They made vast, swampy forests that form many of the coal beds seen and mined today. The most ancestral of seedless plants are non-vascular, in that they lack xylem and phloem tissue. This also explains why they grow no more than a few centimeters off the ground. This group is collectively called the bryophytes, and the earliest evidence of these ancient plants goes back 490 million years ago, although it may be farther, but because they lack lignin, which is a hardy substance in plant cell walls, it is hard to know since bryophytes didn't fossilize well. Thus far, 18,000 species of bryophytes have been discovered, mostly in habitats, with a few growing in drier conditions. They are the dominant flora in the tundra region in the far north, where it is too cold with little precipitation to support grasses, shrubs, and trees. Bryophytes do exhibit alternation of generations more dramatically than other plant groups. Typically, the leafy thallus is haploid and consists of the gametophyte, which makes gametes, and the stalk that grows from those plants composes of the sporophyte, which makes spores. Unlike green algae, plants retain their embryos as they grow, a characteristic that began with this group. Bryophytes can be divided into three divisions. The most ancient of plant groups are the liverworts, as they are the most closely related to the earliest plant forms. With 6,000 species, they're found all over the earth. They are called liverworts because a leafy thallus appears like lobes of the liver, and wort is an Old English word for plant. Hornworts are so named for the horn-shaped sporophyte that grows out of the leafy thallus. Only 100 species exist around areas of heavy moisture. Perhaps the most well-known of the bryophytes are the mosses, with 12,000 species described so far. They are found from cold tundras to the tropical rainforests, and while they do not have roots, they do have filamentous rhizoids to help anchor them to the ground. True roots not only anchor plants, but contain vascular tissue to absorb water and nutrients. Mosses are important in preventing soil erosion, maintaining soil moisture, and providing food for larger animals and shelter for smaller animals. They are very sensitive to air pollution, and thus their presence is an indicator of good air quality. Peat moss is also grown and harvested to be used for gardens for their ability to absorb and retain water. The major disadvantage of being non-vascular is that you cannot grow any taller than a few centimeters. This made for a lot of crowding as bryophytes cover the surfaces of the ground. The introduction of vascular tissues have allowed plants to attain great heights so that they have more opportunities to collect more sunlight, leading to immense diversification. Vascular plants have been around since 430 million years ago, but were seedless at the time. Vascular tissue comes in two types: xylem, which conducts water and minerals from the roots up to the shoots and leaves, and phloem, which conducts sugar from photosynthesis from the leaves down to the roots. And while mosses were able to anchor themselves to the ground with rhizoids, roots were first developed in the seedless vascular plants to not only anchor the same plant, but also allow for the absorption of water and minerals through xylem tissue. In addition, vascular plants have a mutualistic relationship with specialized fungi called mycorrhizae. The hyphae of these fungi surround and penetrate the roots, increasing the surface area for water and mineral absorption. In return, the plant provides sugar to the mycorrhizae. True leaves began to form starting with the seedless vascular plants. Leaves increase the surface area of sunlight capture, increasing the glucose produced from photosynthesis, kind of like large solar panels. Specialized leaves used for the reproduction are called sporophylls and make up pine cones, flowers, and the mature leaves of ferns called fronds. By the late Devonian, plants have evolved vascular tissue, well-defined leaves, and roots, allowing many seedless vascular plants to attain heights of over 100 feet tall. Very few seedless vascular plants grow past 1 meter today, but they dominated the landscape during the Carboniferous and are the source of many of our coal beds around in Kentucky today. The first division is division Lycopodiophyta, also known as the club mosses. Club mosses are not mosses, but are a special group called the lycopods. They were the most dominant plant of the Carboniferous era, creating huge, vast swamp forests that eventually became our modern coal beds. Lycophytes are the most ancient plant lineage with roots, the below-ground system that anchors the plant and absorbs water and mineral nutrients. Lycophytes have unusual leaves called microphyls, and some lycophytes are even sold as Christmas trees due to the appearance of them being pines. The next division is Monolophyta, class Equistopsida, also known as the horsetails. Horsetails are prominent in the fossil record. Now just 15 species live in wet habitats such as stream banks or marsh edges. The brushy appearance of the stems and branches give them this name. Horsetails can flourish in waterlogged soils by allowing oxygen to diffuse down their hollow stems. Asexual reproduction occurs via fragmentation or by an extension of the rhizome, which produces structures specialized for either photosynthesis or reproduction. Silica granules in their stems make them useful for scouring. The next class is Psilotopsida, also known as the whisk ferns. Whisk ferns have no fossil record and live only in the tropical regions. They are morphologically very simple, lacking both leaves and roots. Molecular phylogenies indicate that this simplicity is a derived trait. The lineage has lost complex structures. Some species gain most of their nutrition from fungi that grow in association with their rhizomes, which are extended underground stems. Other species grow in rock crevices or are epiphytes, which grow on the trunks or branches of other plants. The last class of division Monolophyta is class Polypodiopsida, known as the true ferns. Ferns are the most species-rich seedless vascular plants with 12,000 known species, about one-third of which are epiphytes. They are particularly abundant in the tropics and range in size from just a few centimeters to 20 meters tall. Most species reproduce sexually, and ferns are homosporous, but the gametophytes are either male or female. Ferns are the only seedless vascular plants to have large, well-developed leaves called fronds, which give them a large surface area for photosynthesis. Young fronds are called fiddleheads and are often used as food for many animals. Sporangia are found in clusters called sori on the underside of the fronds, which are then used to grow more gametophytes. Now that we have learned about the non-vascular and first vascular plants, how did plants become more tolerant to dry conditions of land? Well, they develop seeds. And in our next video, we will look at the first seed plants, the gymnosperms.